flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please join me as I pray. Again, Father, we're thankful for the blessings of this new day and the great privilege of living in this country and this state and this community. And Lord, as I look at the situation in the world and I remember life's experiences that says for something to live, something must die. And when you think about that, of all the things that have to surrender their life so that we as humans might live, it weighs heavy on us. But it's not just things we need to eat and drink, it's also our will. And Lord, we need you to guide our lives. And we have to be willing to die to ourselves and our will so that we might let your will live through us. And these commissioners here this morning, they have their agendas, they have their own wills on each and every item on the agenda. But Lord, we just pray that you speak to them, that you give them your will for this county and for their individual lives, and pray that they listen to you and follow your will so that all the citizens of this county might benefit. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Good morning. We do have an interesting meeting today. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cheney,
Here.
Commissioner Casterline,
Here.
Commissioner Russo. Here. Commissioner Laubach, Judge Mills.
Here, we have a quorum. And I've been informed by Commissioner Russo that items 17 and 18, after discussions with the road and bridge, they're not ready, so I'll strike those. We don't have any citizens to be heard, but we do have presentations. First one being Texas A&M AgriLife Extension regarding construction of 4-H pavilion AgriLife property. And the leadership class.
I'm here today to introduce the Leadership-Aransas County class 25. They approached us a few months ago about wanting to do something for our 4-H youth, and through conversations with Ginger and myself, our families, our 4-Hers, they settled in on constructing a pavilion and kind of rehabbing an area of our property that's a little rough right now. And so I'm going to let them talk about their project. I'm going to pass these out to y'all so y'all have background information on what they're doing, and I will turn it over to them.
Good morning from Leadership-Aransas County class 25, best class ever. We have Stephanie Horvath, Josh Cantu, and Ann Stevens. And in front of you is some information on our project. We're the third class of the 25 to do a project for the kids in Aransas County. And so we're working with both 4-H clubs here, and we'd like to build a pavilion in an existing structure that's there on their property. The project would be to tear down the current structure, elevate part of the concrete. That's kind of our phase one. And then phase two would be to create the pavilion that they can use for outdoor events. Our goal is to raise about $35,000 for this project, $35,000 to $40,000 roughly. We're at about $15,000 right now raised, 15 to 20-ish. We do have one of our board members who is doing a matching fund of $10,000. So any funds that are donated to our project will be matched dollar for dollar. We do have another event coming up on the 23rd. It's a chili cook-off and goat poop bingo. So we'd like to invite you guys to come out and enjoy the morning, try some chili and have a little fun. And this will be our third fundraiser for our event.
Thank you. I just don't want to know what is in the chili bingo game.
It's fun. That's what it is. So.
All right.
Well, thank you for doing
Thank you.
Absolutely. Do
Appreciate
you have any
everything you
questions
do.
about the project or the class?
Yeah, where's he going to be located?
The AgriLife Extension Center by the on Airport Road.
Right.
There's a little, I guess, what do you call it? A little barn or shed, a steel structure there. Yeah, it's an old barn that needs to be torn down. Right next to the Master Gardeners. Correct.
Well, thank you for your willingness to do this for the kids. So,
Absolutely.
they'll certainly get the use out of it.
I believe we're the third class that only were able to do this. So we're the 25th class, but we're the only third class that actually gave back and we're doing something for the kids. So that made us feel really good. Since we all have kids anyway, we felt strongly about that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the second presentation, again, Commissioner Russo went to the navigation board meeting and heard this presentation. She said, I'll be presented to us. So,
Thank you. We've asked Jace Tunnell, who's the executive director of the Mission-Aransas National Estuarine Research Reserve, quite a mouthful, and his co-workers to give us this presentation. And well, I'll just let him do it. He's the professional. Go ahead, Jace.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
Well, thanks for having me here today. And it's great to be in front of y'all and talk about some of the environmental concerns around the area. Back in January, I got a message from Commissioner Casterline and sent me a video of this about Port Bay issues, possible concerns in there, and that the community had been talking about possible contamination. And so soon after that, I got some other emails from other people around the community saying the same thing. And so it turns out, I guess if y'all have heard of any of the environmental stuff going on, that there is a possible contamination of Port Bay from the red bed settling ponds. And so that's what I'll talk to you about today. I'm just going to talk to you about some of the concerns that are out there, what work has been done, and then we're proposing a project to be done. And I'll let you know about another proposal that was also submitted just to another organization so that you have all the information you need. Okay, do I control it from here? Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is a map of COPANO and Aransas Bay. This is the Mission-Aransas Reserve map. And so Mission-Aransas Reserve, we're a research and education program that's at the University of Texas Marine Science Institute out of Port Aransas, Texas. We do have some education facilities here in Rockport. You might have heard the Bay Education Center. But this map here has some odd red squiggly lines. That's kind of our project boundary. That's where we do a lot of our research. And the communities around that is where we try to do our education efforts. But if you look at the bottom part of the screen, it says red beds, and then there's a blue circle around right next to Port Bay. That's where the possible concerns are coming from. After Hurricane Harvey, we had winds of 140 miles an hour. There was the idea that some of the material that was in those beds had gotten out and into Port Bay. And of course, we have oysters, we have fisheries. There's actually oyster mariculture facility going on right in COPANO Bay there, which the Port Bay drains right into. So, if there was contamination, we'd want to know about it. If there's not contamination, we'd want to know about it. So that's kind of why I'm here to talk to you today. But that's kind of the gist of the area. Okay, if we zoom in, if y'all know about the formation of these settling ponds, they were put in the late 1960s to early 1980s by Reynolds Metals, and they're actually located right down here off of La Quinta Channel, and they had a pipeline that went and put their bauxite material over here after they were done smelting. And so the area in blue is actually owned by COPANO Enterprises, which was formed by Alcoa and Reynolds in a settlement. And so the COPANO Enterprises are the ones that are kind of managing the site right now. And there's actually been quite a bit of investigation that's already been done. Some of the contaminants that would be of concern are some of the heavy metals that come from this type of industry and the waste from it. And that includes mercury, PAHs, fluoride, aluminum, radium, and uranium. And so those would be kind of the things that if you were going to go out and do a study, you'd kind of look for those contaminants. Some of the other investigations that have been done, some by TCEQ, some by COPANO Enterprises, groundwater wells have been looked at, sediment has been looked at from land, water samples have also been taken, although not from Port Bay. Although TCEQ does have a regular site right along the bridge there where they go out quarterly and take water samples, but it's for specific parameters like bacteria, pH, salinity, things like that. And then there's been water sediment samples taken, although not from Port Bay itself. So briefly, we have this proposal. Let me start by saying we have a proposal into the Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries program. And that one is for just under 80,000. And it's looking over a year period, going out and sampling sediment. And it's at 10 different locations. It's also looking at oysters and looking at those heavy metals that might be there. And so that's kind of a long project. The Aransas County NAV district that we presented at last week, they had asked us to put a proposal together that could be done immediately and a one-time event going out, taking samples and looking to see if there was an issue. And that could something that could start like in June, really as soon as a contract could be signed. So that's where this had come from. And so with this project, we'd be looking, of course, for the heavy metals and the sediment, looking at oyster contamination, mercury specifically, uranium and radium levels. And then with any project, we look for nutrients. If there's a nutrient issue, which there has been some studies done looking at nutrients in this area and shown that there are high nutrients and chlorophyll A. You'll notice the biggest portion of the budget actually comes from a lab. So we have to send the labs off for certain heavy metals because we don't have that ability at the university. And that's where the biggest cost is. And I'll show you the budget here in a second. But this project would go from June 2022 to the end of this year in December. And the total cost would be $28,000. But we've looked at a number of the different labs, and this was they're all basically the same, around the same price. And so you send off mercury, it's like $150 per sample. And so you can calculate how much it would cost based on the number of sites and samples we'd be taking. So if you look at the budget, I want y'all to focus on the contractual there. That's the lab. And so those lab costs are something, we can't fluctuate on because we don't really have any ability to do that. But the total cost of $28,000, $15,000 is for contractual for the lab. And then of course we have to have salary, travel is boat time and truck time getting out to the site. And then supplies is, bottles, things like that we would need. And then of course, the indirect. So with that, it was real brief. I'll say that myself, I would actually not be doing the work. It's Dr. Jean-Fei Liu, who's back here in the back, and Dr. Kristen Nielsen, who's another professor there at UTMSI. But if you have any questions, I'll feel free to.
What was your recommendation as far as which study do you think is the better deal, the immediate one or getting the longer term?
So the longer term one would start if it was funded, and the approval process is currently going on with the estuary program. If that's funded, the funding would be available in September. So it would start in September. And that one, there'd be a full report in 2 years, basically. I think it was a 2-year project we had. But in my opinion, I always like to do the full-blown project, the full investigation. It's going to give you a better picture of what's going on out there. This would be, if you're going to do something short-term, you want to make sure that you're targeting specific parameters at the lowest cost possible just to see if there is a contamination issue. But, to be able to do it the right way, you need that larger project, in my opinion.
We're fixing to go into our budgeting process. I anticipate that this is going to be an ongoing issue. I mean, a lot of people are concerned about Port Bay, as they should be. Is this something that the county might take up to participate in the funding of it? I'm just talking. I haven't talked to anybody about this or anything, but this seems to me like a good long-term project, not only for the red beds, but for everything that comes down. You've got the stuff coming from Sinton with the iron plant, and there's going to be more things. And I think we'll probably at some point get some runoff from Mobile Exxon or whatever. But in doing this, can y'all just kind of look at what it take to do this on a regular, quarterly or semi-annual basis, and see if it's something the county can afford?
Yeah. Well,
I'm not
so
offering, I'm just asking.
I'll say this, when the steel plant was coming online, we had a meeting at the Bay Education Center about research that had been done before, what was currently being sampled by TCEQ and their partners, and then what we ought to be doing in the future. And what came out of that was the Nueces River Authority actually samples along Aransas River and Chiltepin Creek. And so they picked up another site and they added heavy metals to there. And so, hopefully, because of the amount of discharge there would be, hopefully that would at least be an indicator if something's going wrong and those levels that they're taking, something goes bad, then we can kind of target that area. I think with Exxon Sabic plant, we've mainly looked at plastics since that would be because that's their storm water that's coming down. Their wastewater actually goes into La Quinta ship channel. Sure. So that would be something else to look at. But there are groups that are looking at water quality around the area. Mission-Aransas Reserve, in COPANO Bay, we have 2 stations that collect data every 15 minutes, 24/7 since 2007. And it's looking at nutrients, turbidity, salinity, pH, DO, all those kind of main parameters. So there is some stuff that's ongoing right now, as well as Parks and Wildlife doing some projects that's ongoing with their random sampling. So what I would suggest is maybe, if we do a project that looks at status and trends, which I know the estuary program does, we take a hard look at the data that's already being collected. And if something pops up that's out of the ordinary, we have a targeted project that goes at that.
So you take all of these different things and just look at them globally and then individually.
Right.
Well,
and that's
Commissioner Casterline has a real good handle on all this stuff. And I really want to thank him for bringing this to us and everything. But I rarely get involved in increasing the budget and anything, but this is something I feel real confident that is needed by the community.
I'm on the NERV advisory board with them. That's what got me to call. And, that committee and their staff, they're continually looking at environmental issues, things through the system. They do a really good job.
Yeah, and I think the biggest kind of thing to look at here is a benefit is the network that we have in partnerships. And so the Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries program is one of those big partners. And it's not uncommon for if somebody comes up with a proposal that, looking for partners to contribute to it so that everybody's involved in it. And so that could be an option too, is if, we move forward with this and say it gets the approval through the approval process and we start negotiating on exact costs and everything that, Aransas County could contribute to that.
Okay. Well, I'm not asking you to come up with a figure or anything like that. I'm just telling you that one commissioner on this court is very much in favor of doing something to help, whatever it is, to protect the bay.
Okay. Thank you.
Jace, I appreciate it and very well done.
I
Very
might
informative.
mention too that he does have handouts up here if someone would like to pick one up as they leave. And thank you for bringing this a second time to our community. I think it's a great proposal.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. Next item is consent agenda. The first three are regular consents, but here we go again with Lori and her abilities. Lori, you got 2 live grass mowers, but they needed a shelter. So Sam Schwartz, is that his name? Donated a shelter for the goats, 2,000 pounds of dog food and cat litter from the people who assist in animals, Corpus Christi, the Humane Society of the United States, and Chewies.com to Aransas County Animal Control. Donation of kitty litter valued at $45 from Karen Small to Aransas County Animal Control. Donation of VSSI sliding kennel door valued at $2,500 from Dr. Kimberly Harold, Babe Breeze Animal Clinic. A donation of kitty litters supply of $45 from Faye Gibson. A donation of 20 Gong dog toys valued at $200 for kennel enrichment, and 10 beds. I don't know what kind of beds they are. It looked like comfortable though. $1,370 from Animal Rescue Aid to Aransas County, and a donation of paint of $212 from Sherman Williams. Now, if we keep going like this, we're going to have to look at your budget next year. But
No,
I'm just
No.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I would also like to amend a couple of items that are in the consent agenda. Item number 4, the proposed official holidays. Rather than New Year's Eve for the Aransas County employees, that's been changed to Christmas Day. So Christmas Eve will be recognized on Friday. Christmas Day would be recognized on Monday. And then on the transfer station, Christmas Eve, again, would be recognized on Saturday, and then Christmas Day would be recognized on Wednesday, and New Year's Eve would be struck from both of those. With those changes, I propose we approve the consent agenda.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Castleline. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item number 13, I make a motion to approve proclamation 02/2022, recognizing the month of April for Fair Housing Month.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Castleline.
Okay, this is Proclamation P02/2022, recognizing the month of April as Fair Housing Month. Whereas Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, as amended, prohibits discrimination in housing and declares it a national policy to provide within constitutional limits for fair housing in the United States. And whereas the principle of fair housing is not only national law and national policy, but a fundamental human concept and entitlement for all Americans. And whereas the National Fair Housing Law during the month of April provides an opportunity for all Americans to recognize that complete success in the goal of equal housing opportunity can only be accomplished with the cooperation of all Americans. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners Court of Aransas County, do proclaim April as Fair Housing Month in Aransas County and do hereby urge all the citizens of this locality to become aware of and support the fair housing law.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Item 14.
I move to,
approve the proclamation P03/2022, recognizing April 2022 as Beach Safety and Rip Current Awareness Month in Aransas County.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cheney.
All right, this proclamation, whereas the 87th Texas Legislature adopted House Concurrent Resolution 46, which was signed by the Texas governor on June 14th, 2021, designating the month of April as Beach Safety and Rip Current Awareness Month in the state of Texas. And whereas countless visitors and local residents visit Texas beaches each year to enjoy the sunshine and the water. And whereas it is important that beachgoers understand that there are possible hazards when swimming, wading, or otherwise enjoying the ocean water. And whereas rip currents are powerful narrow channels of fast-moving water that flow outward to sea with an average speed of 1 to 2 feet per second that sometimes increases up to 8 feet per second. And whereas many swimmers are caught off guard by rip currents and without proper education, intuitively begin swimming toward the beach, which puts them at greater risk of exhaustion, which can lead to drowning. And whereas it is critically important that beachgoers be taught the signs to watch for that may indicate the presence of a rip current, which include a break in wave pattern, a visible channel of choppy churning water, a line of foam or debris moving out to sea, and a difference in water color. And whereas if a swimmer is caught in a rip current, he or she should remain calm and try to conserve energy, and then swim parallel to the current until the rip current weakens and the swimmer can turn toward the beach. And whereas if a swimmer is unable to swim parallel to the rip current long enough for it to weaken, he or she should tread water or float and signal for help. Whereas beachgoers should familiarize themselves with the flag warning system in place at many beaches used to signal when there are hazardous conditions, such as strong currents, high bacteria levels, and jellyfish or other marine life. And whereas recognizing potential danger and being prepared for hazards at the beach can save lives, now therefore let it be known on this day, the 11th day of April, 2022, that the Aransas County Commissioners Court, duly convened and acting in its capacity as the governing body of Aransas County, hereby proclaims the month of April 2022 as Beach Safety and Rip Current Awareness Month.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Item 15. I make the motion to approve proclamation P04 2022 recognizing April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Laubach.
Okay, this is Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. Whereas April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and it is a time for us to come together to recognize the great need to protect children and provide resources to families. And whereas children raised in safe, encouraging, and nurturing families and communities can grow to reach their full potential and thrive as competent, successful adults. And whereas we all have a civic and moral responsibility as individuals, neighbors, community members, and citizens of Aransas County, Texas, to create healthy, safe, and nurturing environments for children in all stages of childhood. And whereas the majority of child abuse cases stem from situations and conditions that are preventable in an engaged and supportive community. And whereas child abuse can be reduced by making sure every family has the support and resources they need to raise their children in a healthy environment. And whereas child abuse prevention is a community responsibility and finding solutions depends on involvement among all members of the community. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among agencies, schools, religious organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And whereas everyone in the community should become more aware of child abuse prevention and do their part to encourage families to raise their children in safe and nurturing environments. Now, therefore, let it be known on this day, the 11th day of April, 2022, that the Aransas County Commissioners Court, duly convened and acting in its capacity as the governing body of Aransas County, hereby proclaims the month of April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item 16, and I don't see Mr. Brown here.
Should we table it?
Motion to table.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. All right, we're skipping down to 19.
I move to approve awarding contract to International Consulting Engineers for the American Rescue Plan Act Generator Project and authorizing the county judge to sign all necessary documents.
I second
Second that.
that.
Motion made and seconded a couple of times, Russo and Cheney. Okay. Any discussion?
I just want to add for the record, I confirmed over the weekend or late last week that the actual cost we're talking about here is in the neighborhood of $200,000. It comes out of a $4.5 million fund, but what we're actually talking about spending is closer to 200,000.
That would be, Commissioner, that would be for the total, the generators themselves. The
Yeah.
engineering will be just a portion of that.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item 20.
Move to approve the proposed amendment to the contract dated January 25th, 2021 for James Davidson Construction Ltd. to complete the Cedar Bayou project October 15th, 2022.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Commissioner Cheney. Any discussion?
John, do you want to explain a little bit about this?
Yes, the JM Davidson last year did not finish the project. There's a portion of Vincent Slough that's not been excavated yet.
Due to mechanical and weather and
Yes, we
all
had a
kinds of-
tropical storm that came up and
the hooping cranes came in, so they had to leave.
right, prematurely opened the what they call the plug in Cedar Bayou, which when it opened, it was great. It was flowing really well, but it also creates problems in Vincent Slough where we had to. So anyway, last November, we stopped the project and they're coming back to finish it up today. This starting May 1st.
Any additional funds?
No, it's all within the contract.
Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item 21.
I move to approve authorizing county judge to use $50,000 from the Go Mesa funds to pay 1/2 of the match for the Newcomb Point project.
Second.
Motion made and second, Commissioner Cheney. Casterline, I'm sorry.
No, I understood from the background memo that this is matching funds for a grant that Texas Parks and Wildlife secured, but it didn't
Correct.
say how much their grant was for. Do you know what that?
It usually is, there's two of us, there's two organizations giving $50,000. So I think the grants are like $40,000. We're not part of the grant, so I kept out of the grant.
The grant would be a lot more than that.
Yeah,
Part of the shoreline stabilization projects that we had.
If the matching funds are 100,000, I just assumed the grant was, I don't know, $1 million or.
I did not apply for the grant. so
We're
I-
not in that grant. We
Yeah.
didn't apply for that grant.
No, we were just asked in the last fall, the Commissioners Court approved that. So now it's time to write a check for them. They got their
I
grant.
would presume it's pretty substantial grant.
Yeah,
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Item 21 or
22.
22.
Move to approve the proposed contract with Allstate Towers Incorporated for the construction of the Rockport Volunteer Fire Department radio tower and other improvements at the 130A State Road 188.
I second that.
Motion made and second, Commissioner Russo.
This is the one that's out there by the water tower or
Exactly.
water tower.
Can I ask why it's labeled just the Rockport Volunteer?
that's just the way the grant was written. It is for it's for the Aransas
Everybody,
Emergency Services Corps.
all of it, everybody.
Yeah, they're all going to be on it. Sheriff, police, fire department, even the city is going to have a thing on it.
No, I don't think so.
If I remember correctly, the background memo does say what the total grant is, but I can't remember. But in any case, this is all covered. This
Sure.
is not a budget item.
No, it's
Do
not
you
a
remember
budget
the
item.
amount of the 450 or something like that?
Yeah, it's 428,000, I think, something like that.
I have a question or two, John. So it'll take 1 year to build this?
It probably shouldn't take that long, but you set it up at those
Right.
timeframes.
And I noticed that we are leasing that land on which the tower will go.
We have a interlocal agreement with the city of Rockport and it's like a lease, yes,
Okay, so the city owns the land, we're leasing it, and then the tower will be on.
right. And then there'll be I have to go back and read it again, but there'll be like a conveyance. And we'll step away from it afterwards.
And this contract period ends August 31st, doesn't it, of this year?
Yes, but we're in for an extension. It
Oh,
should be no
is that
problem.
right? Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item 23.
Move to approve proposed second amendment to the Mont McDonald engineering contract for construction oversight for the remaining dredging at Cedar Bayou, Vincent Slough. The proposed project is funded by FEMA PA number 85937 and contract for the amount of $392,047.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, Commissioner
Now, go ahead, sorry.
Laubach. Go ahead.
Oh, does this represent an increase in the amount of the contract? And if so, is it covered by the grant?
It's covered by the grant.
How
And
much?
yes, it is.
What's the increase?
It's increased by 392,000.
Oh, okay, that's not the total, that's the increase.
That's the
So-
increase.
So this basically represents the extra money it costs just to have them, they have to supervise for a longer period because we
Yeah,
had the delay.
they're required to monitor on a daily basis and to file federal reports and stuff like that. Yes.
But it's, our FEMA grant was flexible enough that it included
FEMA
this.
and item number 24 will help explain that.
Okay.
I have, and John and I talked about this, but I still have some questions
Sure.
about it. Because originally, from the documents, it looks like the contract with Mont McDonald was for 854,000 estimate. This will be added to it, which will make total 1,246,000.
Mhm.
But in their task breakdown, the last one was post-construction monitoring. Okay, it hasn't been finished. And so they originally proposed that the post-construction monitoring would be 285,000. If they haven't done that, why do we have to add almost another $110,000 to that amount?
Just, we're amending the contract and it'll be an ongoing thing.
Add slightly to that. Since the end of the contract period in last fall, Mott McDonald has worked closely with county staff and J.M. Davidson also to look at what we need to do to finish this project. So they've actually continued working from last fall till today. So what we would normally consider to be post-project work, they've done, but now it looks like it's post phase one of the project. But they have earned, I would say, the fee, the full amount of that fee from the previous portion of the contract.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Not roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item 24.
Move to approve the proposed continuation for 2022 of the interlocal agreement between Aransas County and the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department for the contribution of $1 million toward the completion of Cedar Bayou dredging project.
Second that.
Motion made and second, Commissioner Cheney. Any discussion?
Oh, those are the.
Didn't even realize that. Just.
And John, they're contributing $1 million to the project.
Right. They contributed last year. They've extended the contribution this year. So that'll cover anything beyond the FEMA grant.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Unanimous. Item 25.
Move to approve the March 2022 indigent healthcare report.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second, Commissioner Russo. Any discussion?
Is the treasurer Alma Cartwright online? Okay. Well, and I want to thank Alma for this additional report that she attaches to the monthly financial report, showing a breakout of how the money was paid out for the month. And I just want to call attention because I would always ask how many patients did the in-hospital services cover? And it was for 2 indigent patients and 2 inmates, and hospital outpatient services for 4 indigent patients and then for 4 inmates. And just doing a quick calculation on what was spent, we had almost 19,000 that we were spending on indigent, but almost 42,000 that we spent on inmate medical services too. So just to give a little more information, I really appreciate the extra work she and her staff have gone to produce this.
Noted. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline, Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item 26.
I move to approve a request to declare the copper coils and material from the detention center heater project as surplus and allow public facilities to dispose of scrap metal to be salvaged and sold as recyclables. And I want to congratulate Renee and her staff for finding a way to bring a lot of scrap revenue into the county instead of where we used to sell it as surplus for $1 to $10. Good job.
Motion made. Do I have a second? Commissioner Casterline. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item 27.
Move to approve the budget line item transfers. Second.
Motion made. Any discussion? And seconded, Commissioner Casterline. Any discussion?
We have none at this time, Judge.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Item 28.
Move to approve accounts payable, payroll liability.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded, Commissioner Cheney. Any discussion?
I would like to point out that this does include the $93,000 for the termination of the TDA grant. And it also includes the $50,000 that we had, that y'all approved to go to Texas Parks and Wildlife.
What's TDA?
Texas
Department of Agriculture.
Good. Thank you. Now everybody knows.
Sorry.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Now's the time for any department heads or elected officials to bring something up to the public. Yes, sir. Mr. Reed, nice to see you this morning.
I wanted to give a quick update on the CDBG-DR. Say that right?
Right.
Yes. Grant projects. Colin, do you have that loaded? Okay. Thank you. All right. So this grant, we have 4 drainage projects, 4 road projects. Mott McDonald is doing the engineering for all of them. Various things, but roads and drainage is basically what we're doing. The first project that probably will go into construction is COPANO Heights, $1.6 million. The plans are 100%. We're trying to get this bid soon. The project is to redo roads and the roadside ditches associated with those roads. And the estimated date of beginning construction, September this year. Holiday Beach is a little over $4 million. This is a drainage project. It's going to focus on several of the roads on both east and west Holiday Beach for redoing the drainage ditches around it. Plans are at 90%. And again, we are assuming construction to begin November of this year. Linden Street is a drainage project. There's several things we're doing. Redoing the roadside ditches on Linden on the west side of Pearl Street, and then adding 2 drainage structures under Pearl Street.
This one's an additional 4.6.
An additional 4.6 million. Plans are at 90%. September is when we're looking to have it under construction. Loop 1781. This will be redoing the roads and upgrading some of the drainage structures under the roads from Airport Road around to Highway 35. $4 million. Again, November of this year. I think we're ahead of schedule. I think that November is going to get pushed up a few months.
How much was that one?
4.
Oh, I got it. No, I got it. Thanks.
Rattlesnake Point Road. This is going to redo Rattlesnake Point Road, widen it to some extent, put in striping, $4.5 million. Plans are at 100%. September is our start date.
And David, when you say redo, can you just go into a little bit more detail about what's going to happen with Rattlesnake Road? Will it be expanded?
It will be widened. It won't be widened a lot, but it will be 24 feet wide, including shoulders. The whole depth of the road will be built up and new material brought in and compacted, and I think it's going to be an asphalt road. We've gone through several different iterations, and asphalt is what we ended up with. Ruby Allen, which is almost $10 million project, which takes part of the water from Ruby Allen down Traylor Street, which is a wider drainage easement or right of way. There's lots of roads to cross, lots of big structures, so that's why it's so expensive. 90% this September again is the start date. Southeast Aransas, these are all drainage projects for all those roads south of 188 on the east side of the bypass. Cleaning out ditches, replacing driveway pipe, a few cross drains as well.
Could you say those dimensions again?
I'm sorry.
Beginning where and going?
Beginning south of 188
okay,
and east of the bypass.
And you said ditches, cross drains, and
driveway pipes. October of this year is the start date. Southwest Aransas, this is the same kind of project. We're going to also include some cross drainage structures under 1069, and then replacing the driveway structures through all those streets from south of 188 west of the bypass. Okay, what was that? 6 million, 6.4 million. September of this year, get under construction. So this is kind of summary of those dates. We have quite a few we're looking at for September. There's a lot of projects going out, not just county projects, but city and other counties. And I don't know how easily it's going to be to get contractors to do this work. I suspect that everybody is going to be busy, so prices will come in high, and it is what it is, and we'll see what happens.
David, a lot of people might be curious how the selection of these came up. I know that these grants all have a low to moderate income caveat to them, so that had a big part in where they went. Explain a little bit on that.
Yeah, so the low to moderate income was kind of the driving criteria for these projects. We had to spend money on these kind of projects that I think it was like 70% of the money that we were given needed to be in low to moderate income areas. So that was kind of the driving force, while also trying to solve some problems that we knew were existing. But, if we didn't have the low to moderate income criteria, there would probably be some other places that we would spend the money on. But these areas are in need also. So. And this is just a large map of the projects, so you know where they are.
Could we get a copy of that? Just email to us or something?
Yeah, it's on the P drive. You have access to now. I'll email it to you.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's it. Any questions?
No, but I got a comment.
Okay.
We are missing out on people knowing what Aransas County is doing. That track hole over off of Griffith has been the center of conversation.
Yes.
Those people love that thing. And coming up at night, you got one little thing that says Aransas County. And I've heard more comments on the job and the quality that they're doing it, how precise it is and everything. That is an excellent job. Very
Thank
good.
you. I'll pass that on to Eddie.
And my neighbor and friend over there hasn't had a single complaint on it. And that's really good. I mean, it's really responding to what he's doing. But we do need to get some more signage on our equipment so that people will know that it's not the state or it's not the city or whatever. Those little rondelles are just not very much.
Okay.
It's just something to think about.
All right, I will.
Has there ever been any on that project that he's talked about? Has there been any conversation with the school district or anybody else about the possibility of piping all of that?
There has not been any conversation with them. I'm sure the school would be happy to have that piped.
Well, as long as we pay for it, I'm sure.
As long as we pay for it. Keep in mind, pipes are not as efficient hydraulically as ditches, but.
We have such a traffic issue on there. I would think that if we piped it might alleviate some portion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, people parking on top of it that way.
It's
It's
true.
back to where we were before we took out the crosswalks or the crosswalks.
Right.
Well, if everything gets awarded at the same time and under construction, it's not going to be pleasant to drive around Aransas County and Rockport. It's already bad in Rockport.
There will be some.
Be kind of like Corpus Christi, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Just for a little while though.
Thank you. Lori, you had something?
I just wanted to tell everybody, this week is also National Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week.
We appreciate you.
If you see my field officers out and about, you want to give them a pat on the back, just some days, it's just trying to do your job. But they appreciate it.
Thank you.
April's a
Anyone
busy
else?
month for-
Tammy, you don't have anything to say about capital? All right, if not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lobba,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye.